Getting ready for the second game of the day against Madison Capitals. We're going to start off with Bergeron, Koshkowski, and Pulauskas as our forwards, and Campbell and Rubicki at D. Furry won the first game today, 4-3. Koshkowski wins that faceoff back to Rubicki, over to Campbell. Campbell to Bergeron, chips it in, hits off of the bench, and we'll get a neutral zone faceoff. Faceoff pushed into Madison's zone. Pulauskas cuts off the boards, and so they go D to D. Flipped into the neutral zone over to Rubicki. Rubicki goes up to Bergeron. Bergeron to Koshkowski. Misses Koshkowski, goes wide. Pulauskas taps it into the corner. Koshkowski centering. Kept in by Campbell. Campbell sends it over to the sideboard and down to the corner. Puck pops up to the to the board and exited by Madison. Centering pass misses, goes up to the backboard. Rubicki takes a big hit. They're tied up. Puck goes forward. Kushkowski changes. Nietzsche comes on. Bergeron changes, and Pulauskas changes, and Credidio comes on. Bergeron changes now, and Letcher joins his line mates. Prisgintis and Miller on the ice. Faceoff pushed back. Credidio gets there, but it bounces back to Madison. Madison turns it over to Miller. Miller goes cross ice for Letcher. Back to Prisgintis and then over to Miller. Puck forward. Nietzsche gets it into the zone. Nietzsche on the backboard. Gets tied up. Madison picks it up, trying to get past Letcher. Letcher kicks it. Puck bounces between a few players and then picked up by Letcher and dumped in. Madison comes from behind their own goaltender, tries to break out. Puck bounces over a couple of sticks and goes back into the zone. Credidio, cross ice looking for Letcher. Reynolds comes on the ice. Credidio changes and Kruger comes on. Letcher in the corner. Reynolds sends that up to Rubicki across to Aldridge. Puck in front, tapped away by Madison, and they come back through neutral ice. Carrying the puck in on the right side, gets tied up by Aldridge. Kruger is able to knock that puck away. Brown chips that out to Kruger. Kruger taps it into the zone. Kruger trips up Madison, and he's going to go to the box for two. So 14:36 to go in the first, still 0-0. Kruger, 2 minutes for tripping. Reynolds and Chalicki out to kill with Miller and Campbell. Puck went over to the sideboard. Campbell sends it up, kept in by Madison. Goes back down to Campbell, and Campbell sends it into Madison territory. Madison behind their goaltender coming around. Good stick lift by Reynolds. It slows him up. It goes back into the corner. Madison carrying forward. Sends the puck around. Dabrowski slows it up. Gets stuck in his feet, knocked over to the corner. Madison gets tied up by Miller. Puck comes loose. Madison over on the far board. Work the puck down low and back into the corner. Back up top and over to the sideboard. Puck back to the sideboard. Madison looking to make a move. Campbell knocks one out of the air and sends it down the ice. Madison trying to catch us on the chain. Has one guy forward. Miller's already there. Kushkowski and Bergeron come out to kill. Clear that puck on net by Miller, and he changes. Aldridge comes on. So Aldridge and Prisgintis a D. Bergeron and Kushkowski. 45 seconds to go on the kill, 13:21 in the game. Kushkowski pushes that puck to the boards and then sends it back to Aldridge. Aldridge goes to Prisgintis. Prisgintis sends it down. Played by the goaltender. Kushkowski is there. Madison takes a little too long. Kushkowski knocks the puck away, and it bounces off the backboard and on Dabrowski. Dabrowski covers. 22 seconds to go on the kill, 12:58 in the period. Nietzsche and Letcher come on the ice. Face off one back by Madison. They take it around, get a shot that's deflected. Aldridge does a nice job of making sure that the guy in front can't get to it. Madison working an angle, shoots. Dabrowski sees it just in time, catches it, and then falls back. 5 seconds to go. I think Kruger's going to come off, and Carter's going to come on for him. 4 seconds. Prisgintis sends it high off of the glass and down. No icing. Carter comes on. Letcher sees him. Pass just misses. Madison gets a hold of it and goes on the far board. Nietzsche misses his check, but Madison is offsides. 5-on-5 hockey, 12:22 to go. Faceoff comes outside the zone. Campbell and Rybicki come out as the D pairing. Carter, Nietzsche, and Letcher on the ice. Letcher sends that back to Rybicki. Rybicki sends that up. It wasn't quite to the center line, and that goes for an icing. Face-off, one back by Nietzsche to Campbell. Campbell on the boards for Letcher. Letcher tries to tap it to Nietzsche, gets knocked back. Letcher gets it dug out, and then Carter picks up the puck. Carter takes a rough ride into the boards, but gets the puck in the zone. Madison, hard off of the glass, goes to Rybicki. Rybicki sends it forward for Nietzsche. Nietzsche drops for Carter. Carter takes a shot, goes wide. Another opportunity in front by Nietzsche. Rybicki keeps that puck in. Nietzsche, another shot, goes into the chest of the goaltender. Kishkowski, Pulauskas, and Bergeron come on the ice. Rybicki and Campbell remain at D. Madison wins the faceoff back to the corner. Kishkowski stops the clearing attempt. Bergeron tries to push that puck back in. Madison sends it to Dabrowski, who plays it up to Rybicki. Rybicki up the sideboard, gets kept in by Madison. Loose puck over to Campbell, who flips it high, and it hits the ceiling. Miller and Prisgintis come on at D, same offensive pairing at the forwards. 11:13 to go in the first. Kishkowski wins that puck back. Miller is there. Madison jumped it, got in the way. Puck up the sideboard for Pulauskas. Pulauskas to Bergeron, over to Kishkowski. Kishkowski enters, gets shot, goes wide. Prisgintis sends it forward. Fury tag up. Madison tried to get it back out of the zone. It does get out of the zone. Miller goes to get it. Madison goes for a change. Miller gets tied up, puck behind the net, over to Kishkowski. Back to Miller. Miller trying to battle Madison. Madison tries to get a shot. Prisgintis in the way. Puck back up to the D, now cross ice. Prisgintis went down, hoping for a block. Madison D patiently waited for him to slide by. Shot goes on Dabrowski, and we'll get another face-off. Brown, Kruger, and Reynolds come on the ice. Rubicki and Aldridge. Puck makes its way over to Brown. Brown enters. Puck gets knocked away, but he lifts a stick, knocked over to Reynolds. Madison picks it up. Madison sends that puck in. Over to the corner. Centering pass knocked away by Aldridge. Kruger passes that to Brown. Brown dumps it in. Kruger goes in on the forecheck. Puck comes back around. Over to the sideboard. Flipped over Brown and into neutral ice. Madison sends it on to Dabrowski. Dabrowski plays it to Miller and then over to Brown. Brown up the boards. Kruger giving pressure. Nietzsche and Carter come on a change. Puck taken away by Miller after a stuff attempt on Dabrowski. Miller sends the puck in. Nietzsche takes that away, gets a shot. And no rebound given by the goaltender. 8:54 to go in the first. Chalicki, Nietzsche, Carter, Aldridge, and Prisgintis. Madison wins the faceoff back to the corner, goes behind their goaltender and up the far board. Carrying forward, Prisgintis stuffs his guy on the boards, and Aldridge picks up that loose puck over to Chalicki. Chalicki, cross for Nietzsche's picked off. Taken away by Prisgintis. It goes across to Aldridge, up to Chalicki. Chalicki sends that puck into the corner. Carter is there. Back to Nietzsche. Nietzsche's shot goes off the goaltender. Puck comes out. And we get an offside. Kushkowski, Credidio, Letcher, Rubicki, and Campbell on the ice. Puck knocked away. Letcher tries to get it over to Kushkowski. Kind of slows behind him, but still got out of the zone. Letcher carrying the puck forward. Loses an edge. Madison high off the glass and hits off of the top of the boards. And so we'll get a change. They'll go for an icing. Bergeron, Reynolds, and Pulauskas on the ice. Puck over the sideboard. Knocked back by Madison. Reynolds steals it, gets a shot, hits off of the goaltender's shoulder, back into the corner. Pulauskas gets a hit in. Puck goes up to Rubicki. Rubicki keeps it. Tries to get a shot, it's blocked and into the corner. Bergeron comes over to the side. Madison trying to dig it past him. Pulauskas over to help. Puck underneath Bergeron. Madison gets a hold of it, goes cross ice. Madison gets past on the sideboard and in. Good job by Reynolds and Rubicki tying up their guys. Puck to Pulauskas. Pulauskas takes a ride into the corner. Puck on the backboard and then back up. Knocked away from Bergeron over to Prisgintis and back to Miller. Miller passes to Pulauskas. Pulauskas Tries to get through 3 men. Shot by Przgintis goes in front though. Pulauskas tried to stick handle a little bit in front. Przgintis forward for Burr. She dumps it in and we get a change. Brown and Kruger come on with Nietzsche. Puck over to the side. Brown giving some pressure. Madison almost turns it over. Nietzsche comes forward, and Madison does turn it over to Miller. Miller to Przgintis. Back to Miller. Przgintis taps it, but it wasn't quite up to the center line. And that'll go for icing. 5:58 to go in the first. Still 0-0. A little bit of direction from coach on the face-off. Nietzsche takes the draw, wins it over to Rybicki. Rybicki, hard around. Brown ties up on the board. Madison gets it off of the board and tries to send it back in. It's in the corner. Rybicki takes that puck away, moves it forward. Flipping up to the Madison D, gloves it down and sends it. That's going to go for icing. 5:33 to go. Madison seems prepared for our breakouts. Twice they've jumped in front of our plays. Puck gets knocked in front. The goaltender, Kruger's tied up. That almost finds its way in the net, but it goes back in and taken out by Madison. Madison sending up the boards. That one gets sent in. Aldridge ties up, puck underneath. Nietzsche pins his man. Rybicki over to help. Puck bounces off of the boards back to Madison. Rybicki working with Nietzsche. Nietzsche gets the puck out and heads down the ice. Brown coming with him. Sends it in. Brown over to the sideboard. Madison sends it up. Kushkowski comes on the ice. Miller and Campbell at D. Shot in front, blocked aside. Brown clears and goes for a change. That's going to go for an icing. Chalicki, Carter joined Kushkowski. Face off, one back. Shot off of Dabrowski over to the corner. Centering attempt knocked away by Miller. Puck to the sideboard. Kushkowski throws up another shot. Hits off of Dabrowski's pad over to Miller. Miller sends it up for Carter. That must have hit out of play. .4:11 to go in the first. Kushkowski sets up to take the draw. Madison controls the faceoff. They get a shot that goes behind Dabrowski and then cleared by Chalicki. Madison sends it back on Chalicki, who gloves it down and then gives it to Campbell. Campbell to Miller. Miller to Carter. Carter tries to send it forward. Madison steps in front of that pass and sends it back down. Puck on the sideboard for Chalicki. Chalicki takes a look, sends it around for Miller. 3:40 to go. Miller up to Carter. Gets past Carter. Madison regroups. Middle entry tied up by Miller and Carter. Kushkowski picks up the loose puck, sends it for Chalicki. Madison jumps in front of it. Puck on the sideboard. Chalicki sends it out. Carter and Kushkowski giving pressure. Puck to the side, and Miller ties up. Madison in the corner. They've got 3 fresh bodies on the ice. Fury flipped that puck up. Chalicki changes and Credidio comes on. Carter, big hit. Shot is deflected out of play. Letcher and Reynolds come on the ice. 2:58 to go in the first. Reynolds takes the face-off. It goes over to Przgintis. Przgintis sends it over to Letcher. Letcher, crossover on the boards, goes on net. Madison sends it forward. Aldridge gives it to Przgintis. Przgintis tries to move it up the boards, kept in by Madison. Madison sends it back down. Przgintis goes for Reynolds. It gets off of Reynolds' stick, and Madison sends it across. Przgintis ties up on the sideboard. Puck gets knocked back and then cleared. That's going to go on Dabrowski, who then plays it forward while Madison tries to change. Reynolds over to Letcher. Bounces away from Letcher back to Madison. Good stick lift. Credidio sends it across for Przgintis. Przgintis slap shot, hits it to the goaltender and covered. Kushkowski, Pulauskas, Bergeron come on the ice. Face-off pushed back out of the zone. Rubicki sends it over to Campbell. Campbell up the boards for Bergeron. He gets tied up. Good stick, knocks the puck away, though, over to Kushkowski. Kushkowski gets tripped. Rubicki sends that in. Madison touches up, and we'll go on the power play. Minute 37 to go in the first. Madison penalty, 2 minutes for tripping. Nietzsche, Letcher, Pulauskas, Reynolds, Przgintis to start the power play. Puck in the corner. Madison digs it out, tries to clear, kept in by Letcher. Letcher goes cross ice for Przgintis. Przgintis back to Letcher. Letcher to Nietzsche. Across. Finds Reynolds to put Przgintis. It gets knocked away, hits off of the boards, and then I don't think it's glass. I think it might be plastic, but it has a very dull sound. Przgintis puts one on net. Pulauskas buries it. So power play strikes again. It's 1-0 Fury. Kushkowski comes out with Brown and Kruger. Kush wins it back. Pass over to Kruger, goes to the corner. Kruger battling it out. Gets it to Kushkowski. Kushkowski to Campbell. Campbell working on blue line. Tipped by Brown. Kruger working in the paint. Hits the net off. So since we knocked the net off, the puck comes outside. Puck goes underneath Madison, knocked over to Campbell. Campbell sends it to the corner. Kushkowski gets a hit on, puck up to Rubicki. Brown comes over to help. Tries to get it over to Kushkowski and does. Kushkowski sends the puck in. Kruger giving some pressure. Madison goes hard off of the glass. Rubicki sends it around to the opposite side. Madison coming from behind, sends that puck forward, misses everybody, and goes for an icing. 2 seconds to go. Reynolds, Nietzsche, and Letcher come on the ice for this last faceoff of the period. Rubicki and Campbell at D. Faceoff 1-2. Letcher back to Campbell. Campbell shot hits the glove of the goaltender, and that'll end the period. So after one, Fury up 1-0.
Yeah. They're bigger than most of them.
We're going to start the second period with Chalicki, Reynolds, and Carter, Prisgintis, and Miller at D. Face-off one over to the sideboard. Prisgintis sends that into the zone. Madison tries to clear. It gets past Carter and Reynolds and then into neutral ice. Madison stumbled coming into the zone. The rebound off of Dabrowski found no one as they had fallen down. Reynolds takes that pass from Chalicki over into the corner. Puck sent over to Carter. Carter to Chalicki. Chalicki decides to give that back to Miller. Goes cross ice for Prisgintis. Back over to Reynolds. Reynolds to Prisgintis. Puts a back door for Chalicki. Gets tapped by Madison. Chalicki still gets a hold of it off of the boards. Carter sends it to Chalicki. Madison takes that one away. Chalicki changes. Pulauskas comes on the ice. Miller puts it back into the zone. Madison back up to Miller. Miller to Reynolds. Reynolds sends it to the corner. Pulauskas goes in to get it. Kushkowski comes on the ice. Carter behind the goaltender comes around looking for somewhere to go. Kushkowski one-timer gets deflected into the back glass. Pulauskas up the boards. Kushkowski working against two on the side. Pulauskas back over to help. Kushkowski pass for Carter misses. Madison sends a slow one back. Rubicki picks it up. Madison changes. Kushkowski carries forward with Pulauskas. Chip forward for Pulauskas. Pulauskas taps it down, tries to stuff one in, and covered. No rebound. Bergeron comes on the ice. Rybicki and Aldridge at D. 15-16 to go in the second. Just a reminder, there'll be an ice cut around 8:30. Face-off one back by Madison. They try to clear, hits off of Pulauskas and up. Aldridge keeps that puck in, sends it down for Burge. Burge touches it. Madison sends it on the near board and then through neutral ice. They decide to send it to the corner. Rybicki goes to get it and sends it up the boards. Kushkowski chips the puck to Pulauskas. Pulauskas takes a slash and a trip, and we're going to go on to power play. And they're going to call a hook. All right. Well, that was one I didn't see. Could have been one of any of those. 14:47 to go. Nietzsche, Pulauskas, Reynolds, and Przgintis with Letcher on the ice. Puck kept in by Przgintis. He sends it down. It hits the linesman. Madison sends it out. Przgintis makes a couple of moves, puts the puck on pad, rebound in front, cleared by Madison. Goes all the way down on Dabrowski. Dabrowski slows it up for Reynolds. Reynolds picks it up, comes from behind the net, drops it for Letcher. Letcher enters the zone. Punch turn. Gets it to Reynolds. Reynolds across for Przgintis. Przgintis shot off of the crossbar over to Letcher. Letcher up to Pulauskas. Pulauskas shot fans, but knocked over to Przgintis. Shot off of pad in front. Reynolds gets an opportunity. It goes wide. 55 seconds to go. Przgintis sends it in. That's going to go for an icing. And we'll get a change. Chalicki, Kushkowski, Carter, Campbell, and Brown. Carter takes the draw, wins it over to Brown. Brown sends it to Kushkowski, who drops it for Campbell. Campbell to Kushkowski. Cross ice for Chalicki. Chalicki sends it around for Kushkowski. Kushkowski to Brown in the slot. Brown to Kushkowski, over to Campbell. Campbell back to Kushkowski. Looking to pass it across. Madison knocks it into neutral ice, and then behind for Dabrowski. Dabrowski leaves it for Campbell. 15 seconds to go on the power play. One last rush. Campbell to Kushkowski. Kushkowski enters. Sends it back up. Nobody's there. Puck out of the zone to Campbell. Campbell settles it down and gets it to Chalicki. Chalicki sends it back into the zone. Kushkowski changes, and Rybicki comes on as we're even now. 12:40 to go. Madison trying to work around Carter. Brown comes in. Kruger's on. Campbell takes a little stumble but recovers, picks up the puck and goes behind Dabrowski, waiting to come out of the zone. Puck forward for Kruger. Kruger streaking in, has Brown. Shot off of the side of the net over the corner. Carter working. Taken away by Madison, back to the corner. Carter over to help, knocks him off the puck. Puck underneath Carter. Madison trying to get past Kruger. Kruger pins. Kruger and Carter still battling against three Madison players. Brown puts his man into the boards. Puck goes across to Rybicki. Rybicki over to Miller. Miller sends that in, takes a ride. Brown changes and Credidio comes on. Rybicki steals it. He's got Kruger with him. Credidio in the slot. Rybicki unassisted. 11:31 to go. It is 2-0. Reynolds takes that face off. It bounces off of a few skates and back to Przgintis. Przgintis sends it in. Goalie has to play it. Oh, Credidio had an opportunity. Madison gets a stick on it. The goaltender was out of the net. Przgintis steps in front of a pass. It gets past him. Reynolds battles the man off the puck. Madison sends it back to the corner. Puck goes across for Bergeron. Bergeron up to Reynolds. Reynolds chips it forward. Madison, offsides. Same personnel of Bergeron, Reynolds, Credidio with Przgintis and Miller. Both centers are kicked. Berge takes the faceoff, ties up. It gets knocked back to Madison. They put a shot on Dabrowski. Another stuff attempt goes wide. Puck to the corner and up. Tapped in front. I think that hit Reynolds. Dabrowski pushes it aside. Puck goes down low. Madison trying to work it. Bergeron gets it out and up to Credidio. Credidio to Reynolds. Reynolds. Puck gets lost in his feet. Madison sends it forward. Miller battling on the boards. Credidio comes over to help. Madison chips it down into the corner, centering. All right, Miller's getting called for a hook with 10:07 to go in the second. We'll send out Letcher and Nietzsche with Aldridge and Campbell. Nietzsche wins that puck to the corner. Madison gets to it first. They lose an edge, though. Aldridge picks it up and sends it out. Puck off of the boards to Nietzsche. Nietzsche. Puck is underneath to him. Madison picks it up and sets up behind their goaltender. Minute 38 to go in the kill. Puck goes across. Aldridge steps up. Madison sends it down to Campbell. Campbell off of the glass for Nietzsche. Nietzsche, one guy to beat, chips it past him. It goes on net. He gets taken down. That should be interference. Nietzsche comes back into the zone. Madison sends it up the boards. Circling towards the middle of the ice, looking for a shot. They decide to send it back down and then into the middle. Puck goes to the opposite side D. Pass misses. Hits off the corner and back up. Madison takes it down on the far board. And then behind Dabrowski. Back up to the slot. Shot blocked by Letcher and Nietzsche. Aldridge sends it down. Letcher's all alone. Madison hustling back. Puck over to the backboard. Letcher avoids a hit. Krzyzkowski comes on the ice. Letcher changes. Chalicki comes on. Shot in front. Dabrowski makes two saves, and then Rybicki sends it to the backboard. Now worked up the boards by Madison. Quick shot by Madison from the blue line. Dabrowski covers. 8:10 to go, 4 seconds left in the power play. We're going to go to ice cut.
Have a good night.
I'm going to come back from ice cut here. 4 seconds remaining on the penalty. 8:10 to go in the second period. Kruger and Reynolds to take the face-off with Aldridge and Prisgintis. Reynolds. Puck gets stuck under his feet. Penalty has expired. Brown comes on the ice. Madison tries a centering attempt. Kruger sends it down for Brown. Brown touched it. Madison back up the far board. Trying to get past Kruger. Sends it over to the sideboard. Prisgintis ties up. Madison's able to dump it to the corner. Reynolds comes over. Knocks the puck to Brown. Brown to Kruger. Kruger carrying forward. Tries to get a shot off. The goaltender deflects it over to the side. Madison's going to send that down. It'll be icing. 7:27 to go. Penalty has expired, and we're even strength. Pulauskas, Bergeron, Kushkowski come on the ice with Miller and Campbell. Pulauskas takes the faceoff, wins it to Kushkowski, tries to get a shot. Puck goes to Pulauskas, whose shot goes wide over to the far or to the near board. Madison tries to clear. Kushkowski gloves it down. Bergeron over to help. Madison takes the puck, goes cross ice and up, hits off of Miller's stick. Madison from the corner loses the handle, gets it over to Pulauskas. Pulauskas and Kushkowski attack the zone. Pulauskas back to Bergeron. Puck comes out. Credidio, Nietzsche, and Letcher jump on the ice. Miller and Campbell remain. Face off, stuck under Nietzsche's feet. Letcher tried to get it back, but got knocked away. And then Madison ices. Face-off pushed back by Credidio to Miller. Miller sends it across for Campbell. Madison steps in front of Campbell's pass attempt. Letcher takes the puck away. Toe drag. Credidio backhand from Letcher, and it's 3-0. Reynolds, Chalicki, and Carter take this face off. Madison wins the draw, sends it around for Dabrowski to play it up the boards to Chalicki. Aldridge, good stick. Puck gets knocked to Reynolds. Reynolds taps it to himself. Puck goes to the backboard. Reynolds working against three. Madison tries to get past Carter. Carter knocks it away. Sends it over for Chalicki, which bounces off of the sideboard and goes low. Madison tied up by Carter, trying to get cleared. Rubicki recovers. Madison sends the puck back. Reynolds dumps it in. We'll get a change, and Kushkowski comes out with Kruger and Brown. Puck up to Brown. To Kushkowski, backdoor hits the post. Kushkowski sets it to Kruger. Back to Kush. Kush, another shot. Goes off the goaltender and up to Prisgintis. Prisgintis to Kushkowski to Kruger. Kruger looking for Brown. Intercepted by Madison. Madison's going to ice it. We'll get a quick change. 5:10 to go. Rybicki changes. Miller comes on. Bergeron, Pulauskas, and Nietzsche to take this face-off. Nietzsche wins the face-off over to Pulauskas, who gets it to Prusgintis. Prusgintis just loses the puck over to the sideboard. Bergeron ties up. Prusgintis knocks the puck away. Madison still in control. Puck goes down for Miller to play up to Pulauskas. Pulauskas tries to get it across to Nietzsche, hits some skates of Madison. Miller picks it up and sends it to Berge. Berge, touch pass to Nietzsche. Nietzsche shot off of the goaltender. Backhand shot by Pulauskas blocked. Nietzsche keeps it in, or I'm sorry, Bergeron keeps it in. It hits Nietzsche, but Fury is offsides as Pulauskas was still in the zone. Letcher, Credidio, and Reynolds hop on. Campbell and Rybicki at D. Reynolds wins the faceoff to himself, regroups, and then sent back in. Madison goes behind their goaltender. That's interference. The goaltender shoved Credidio. No call. That's twice the goaltender's interfered with a player. Reynolds sends the puck to Letcher. Letcher escapes a hit, gives it to Credidio. Credidio cross for Rybicki. Rybicki over for Reynolds, bounces past. Puck goes to the corner where Credidio sends it to Rybicki. Rybicki back to Credidio. Credidio to Letcher. Some good cycling on this shift. Got a shot here. Rybicki to Campbell. Campbell sends it down for Credidio. Credidio pass is blocked by Madison, and they go the other direction. Puck goes to the corner. A centering pass. Shot from the slot. Dabrowski covers. Kushkowski, Brown, and Carter come on the ice. Prusgintis and Aldridge at D. Kushkowski gets knocked out. Brown comes in. Brown wins the face-off back to Prusgintis. It goes up to Carter. Bounces off of the boards weird. Kushkowski comes over to help. Madison knocks the puck back behind Dabrowski. Prusgintis picks up, goes to Kushkowski. Kushkowski carries in. Shot off of the goaltender over to Brown, but then cleared by Madison. Madison carries 1-on-5 in and dumps. Kushkowski hard off of the boards, bounces past Brown, and Carter have a 2-on-1. Brown takes a shot, looking for a pass off pad wide. Another shot on by Prusgintis, bounces into the corner. Brown ties up. Kushkowski over to help. Kushkowski tries to knock it in. Madison gets it out. We send it back in on the goaltender. Goaltender again hits Carter. Miller pins back. Puck goes down into our zone. Prusgintis battles it back. Kushkowski and Carter forward. Carter shot. No rebound, and we'll get a whistle. 2:04 to go in the second. Bergeron, Kruger, and Nietzsche on the ice. Campbell and Miller at D. Puck goes behind the net for Madison over the near board and up through neutral zone. Madison loses an edge, falls into Campbell. Miller sends that forward for Kruger. Kruger lost an edge. Puck goes across. Campbell clears. Madison picks it up. Bergeron giving some pressure in the corner. Kruger tries to pass it to Nietzsche. It goes back to Bergeron. Bergeron and Nietzsche battling in the corner now. Puck moved up to Campbell and across for Miller. Miller puts it in front for Kruger. Kruger from Campbell and Miller. 4-0, 1:16 to go. Reynolds, Palauskas, Credidio on the ice. Aldridge and Rybicki at D. Madison digs that puck out from under, puts it on Dabrowski. Rybicki took a hit that's going to be a penalty. Well, interference on Madison with 59.4 seconds to go in the second. 2 minutes for interference. Nietzsche, Palauskas, Letcher, Reynolds, and Porzingis on the ice. Madison wins that back to the corner, tries to clear, hits Nietzsche. Palauskas picks it up. Gets it to Porzingis, goes across for Letcher. Letcher walks in, gets a shot off pad, goes over to Palauskas. Palauskas up to Porzingis, back to Palauskas. Palauskas looking for a pass over to Reynolds, intercepted by Madison. Letcher blocks it, but knocked away. Porzingis is going to take a penalty. It's going to be 4-on-4 for 1:30, and then we'll have a 30-second kill. So Porzingis, 2 minutes for holding, 29.1 seconds to go. Nietzsche and Letcher will stay out. Miller and Campbell at D. Face-off one over to Campbell. Campbell looking for Letcher, goes behind him, and that'll go for an icing. 21.8 seconds left in the second period. Madison wins that back to their point and over to the sideboard. Puck goes behind, taken away by Miller. Miller up for Letcher. Letcher makes a couple of moves and avoids some contact, chips the puck over to Campbell. And that'll be the end of the second period. About a minute left on the Madison penalty. Yeah, all of a sudden.
the kids were all over the house.
We're going to start the third period with Chalicki, Reynolds, Campbell, and Miller. Four on four for a minute and 1 second. Madison wins that faceoff and carries forward. They knock it behind Dabrowski, who plays it for Campbell. Campbell to Miller. Miller goes across to Campbell, up to Chalicki. Chalicki entering on the far boards. Turns and passes to Miller. Miller's shot is blocked in the middle. Madison enters. One guy in front, shot stopped by Dabrowski, puck back over to Miller. Miller up to Reynolds. Reynolds entering now. Gets a shot, it goes high and off of the glass. Miller, good back check, takes the puck away. Madison hit the board awkwardly. His arm is pretty limp. Either got knocked out of place or just hit a nerve. Pass over to Letcher, knocks it into the zone. We're on the kill for 30 seconds. Kushkowski is on the ice for Vicky and Aldridge. So Madison cruises in and takes a backhand shot. It goes on Dabrowski on the blocker side, and it's 4-1. So with that goal, the penalty is over. Kushkowski, Bergeron, Pulauskas on the ice. Kushkowski sends that puck back to Aldridge, who sends it to Rubicki. Rubicki puts the puck to the corner. Pulauskas working in the corner with Bergeron. The puck is underneath Bergeron. He kicks it over to Pulauskas. Pulauskas kicks it back to Bergeron. It comes out between Berge's legs. Madison sends it forward, picked up by Rubicki. Rubicki puts it over to the sideboard. Pulauskas is there. Centering to Bergeron. He knocks it back to Pulauskas. Pulauskas shot hard off of the glass. Kushkowski taps it to Berge. Berge tries to get it over to Kushkowski. Puck still on the backboard. Miller catches that pass and knocks the puck down. Knocked out of the zone by Madison. Priskintis carries in. Kushkowski quick shot into the glove of the Madison goaltender. 14:44 to go in the game. Kruger, Brown, and Nietzsche on the ice. Miller and Priskintis. Nietzsche ties up. Puck gets knocked back to Priskintis. It goes down for Kruger. Kruger, quick turn, centering, hits off of the goaltender. Turnover to Brown. Nietzsche knocks it in. Brown on the forecheck behind their goaltender and up the sideboard. Another turnover to Nietzsche. Nietzsche tries to stick handle through, gets knocked away. Madison. Big save. Misconduct. One of the players giving a ref the business gets unsportsmanlike. So we're going to go on the power play with 14:08 to go. It'll be a 5-on-3.
I'll be at the same penalty in our game.
Face off. Pushed back to Priskintis, over to Letcher. Back to Priskintis. Back to Letcher. Reynolds and Pulauskas on either side of the net. Nietzsche in the middle. Reynolds looking for Pulauskas, hits off of the goaltender. Letcher picks up the puck, gets it to Priskintis. Priskintis walks the blue line, switches places with Letcher. Brings the puck down, switches places with Pulauskas. Shot attempt blocked, and then knocked to the blue line by Madison, kept in by Letcher. Letcher moves it to Priskintis. Priskintis down low for Reynolds. Reynolds to Nietzsche. Nietzsche shot is blocked. Letcher holds on, gets it to Priskintis. Priskintis shot high off of the glass. Reynolds keeps hold of it. Madison clears. 1:07 to go. Madison goes for a change. Dabrowski plays it forward, but we're offsides. The clock's running. The clock's still running. They're trying to figure it out. So the clock runs down, 36 seconds remaining. Face-off one over to Brown. Brown to Kushkowski. Shalicki to Kushkowski. Back to Campbell, back to Kushkowski. Kushkowski shot is blocked. Gets it to Brown. Brown shot hits off of the goaltender. Carter gets it to Kushkowski. Back across for Campbell. To Shalicki. Back to Kush. To Brown. Brown up to Kush. Kushkowski back to Brown. Brown to Kushkowski. Kushkowski back to Brown. Brown walks it in. Puts it across for Shalicki. Carter gets a hold of it. Blocked over to Kushkowski. Campbell shot off of the back glass. 4 seconds to go. Back to Campbell. Campbell to Shalicki. Shalicki shot. Hits off of the back. We're even. Kushkowski shot into the glove of the goaltender. 12 minutes to go. Not exactly sure what happened with the clock. Scorekeepers ran it down in 20 seconds. Face off one back to Aldridge. He gets it to Bergeron. Quick pass over to Reynolds. Rybicki to Pulauskas. Pulauskas tries to shoot. A stick gets lifted. Madison takes a hit from Pulauskas. Puck over to Aldridge to Rybicki. Rybicki forward hits off of Reynolds. Madison picks it up and goes the other direction. Puck into the middle of the ice. Aldridge gets in the way and it goes to the corner. Rybicki ties up. Reynolds over to help. Madison digs it out, goes behind Dabrowski. Puck up to the D. Turnover to Pulauskas. Pulauskas all alone in front, makes a move. Glove save. Pulauskas with a breakaway opportunity. He wants that one back. 11:13 to go in the game. 4-1 Fury. Credidio, Nietzsche, Kruger on the ice, Miller and Prisgintis at D. Madison takes a shot. It hits off of Dabrowski. Then another shot attempt hits off of the crossbar. Puck gets blocked by Prisgintis. Kruger picks it up, sends it into neutral ice. Madison sends it back in, hits off of the back glass, bounces past Dabrowski to Miller. Miller to Prisgintis. Prisgintis gets pushed into the boards, but he digs the puck out and gets it to Credidio. Credidio to Nietzsche. Nietzsche carries in. Drops to Prisgintis back to Nietzsche. Nietzsche from the corner, centering. Prisgintis gets knocked into the net. And we get a whistle. Everybody clears out. Letcher, Carter, Kushkowski on the ice. Rubicki and Campbell at D, 10:28 to go. Kushkowski pushes that puck over to Carter. Carter to Rubicki. Rubicki cross ice for Campbell. Campbell shot gets blocked. Kushkowski knocks that to Carter, but it misses. Rubicki gets a shot. It bounces on the goaltender. Kush back up the boards to Rubicki. Letcher takes that away from Madison, and they take it back. Madison enters the zone. Far side. Campbell loses an edge and then takes a hit while he's down. Puck up to Carter. Kushkowski helps out. Carter brings it with Letcher. Carter's shot off of the backboard. I think he was trying to get it off of the goaltender for Letcher. Kushkowski giving some pressure. Madison sends it up the sideboard. Kushkowski again forcing Madison to slow up. Puck gets knocked to Carter. Carter goes behind Dabrowski. Sends it up the boards for Kushkowski. Kushkowski up for Letcher. Letcher to Carter. Knocked away by Madison. Aldridge sends it across for Prisgintis. Prisgintis carries in. Gets knocked into the feet. Reynolds over to help. Brown comes on the ice. Brady Aldridge ties up, and then puck makes its way down to Prisgintis. Aldridge up to Reynolds. Reynolds takes a hit in the boards. The puck goes on the backboard. Chalicki joins Brown and Reynolds. Madison knocks the puck into our zone. Campbell picks it up and leaves it for Miller. Miller sends it to Chalicki, who gives it to Brown. Brown cross ice for Reynolds. Reynolds takes a shot. It's blocked. Takes a cross check too at the same time. Madison tries to send that puck down. Campbell steps in front. Pulauskas comes on. Brown takes a shot, hits off of the goaltender over to Pulauskas. Brown goes for a change. Pulauskas digging in on the backboard. Madison takes it away. Bergeron comes on. Puck knocked into the Fury zone. Miller back to help. Madison tries a stuff around, and then a shot from the slot into the glove of Dabrowski. 7:44 to go in the game. Still 4-1 Fury. Faceoff gets pushed over to the sideboard. Madison in control. Turns the puck over behind Dabrowski. Nietzsche sends it up the boards. Madison sends it back to the corner. Madison can't quite get past Nietzsche. Aldridge comes over now to help. Aldridge is going to get a holding penalty. So we're going to go on to kill with 7:16 to go. Aldridge, 2 minutes for holding. Kushkowski, Reynolds, Prisgintis, and Miller on the ice for the kill. Face off to the blocker side of Dabrowski. Puck one back by Madison. Bring it on the sideboard, try to center, gets knocked by Reynolds to Miller. Miller sends it down. Goaltender comes out to play it. He leaves it behind for Madison. They come back from behind the net and carry forward. Puck on the sideboard. Miller pinning it. Kushkowski over to help. Centering attempt goes to the backside, and then a shot on Dabrowski covered. Madison whacks at it, but there's no rebound. Nietzsche and Letcher come on the ice. Miller and Prisgintis stay. 1:29 to go on the kill. Madison wins the faceoff back. Fletcher comes up, forces Madison to throw the puck down low. Puck on the backboard. Miller, again battling. Puck to Prisgintis. Prisgintis gets it to Letcher. Letcher out of the zone for Nietzsche. Nietzsche sends it back. Rybicki picks it up. 1 minute to go on this kill. Campbell sends it all the way down into the corner. Nietzsche gets a shot opportunity. Goes wide off of the backboard. Madison enters the zone. Good stick lift by Letcher. Puck gets up to Nietzsche again. Nietzsche toe drag shot off of the blocker of the goaltender. Nietzsche pins the puck into the corner. Madison digs it out. They enter wide, knocked away by Rybicki. Rybicki tries to clear, it doesn't quite go, but then he gets the second attempt out. Kushkowski comes on the ice. 15 seconds to go on the kill. Bergeron with him. Madison up the near board. Berge knocks it away. Kushkowski gets to it, sends it on net. The goaltender plays it for his defender. We're even. Polauskas comes on the ice. Madison just waiting. Bergeron comes over, knocks it away. Puck over to the corner. Polauskas comes in. Madison works it up the sideboard, kept in by Kushkowski. Puck goes down low. Bergeron into the corner with Madison. Polauskas tries to pull it off of the boards. It's still stuck there. Dug out by Madison and up the far board. They flip it in on Dabrowski. He plays it to the corner. Madison gets an attempt. Kushkowski blocks the shot. Puck up to Polauskas. Polauskas. Quick punch turn. Puts it low for Kushkowski. Kushkowski saw Aldridge come in, but it went too far in the middle of the ice. Aldridge picks it up from Dabrowski. Dabrowski is going to get an interference call. They let it go on the other side, and Dabrowski gets caught. So somebody from the ice will have to serve the penalty for Dabrowski. Polauskas will serve the penalty for Dabrowski. We got a timeout. Kushkowski and Reynolds are going to come out to kill with Prisgintis and Aldridge. 4:20 to go in the game. Dabrowski 2 minutes for interference. Face off one back to Prisgintis. Prisgintis sends it around for Reynolds. Madison's able to keep it. It goes into the corner. Prisgintis harassing his guy. Puck goes up the boards. Madison sends it back to the sideboard. Tries to center it. Puck gets sent to the backboard. Prisgintis picks it up. Sends it off of the glass. Reynolds coming down to play. The goaltender comes out pretty far to play it. Madison back in. Kushkowski gives him a little shove and then pins the puck on the boards with Campbell. Campbell holding the puck. Comes loose over to Miller. Miller pins it. 1:09 to go on the kill. Madison digs it out, goes to the corner. Miller doing his best to pin. Campbell comes over, puts his guy into the boards. Cross ice pass, intercepted by Kushkowski, and he sends it down on net. .304 to go in the game, 45 seconds remaining on the kill. Nietzsche and Letcher come out. Aldridge and Rybicki. Madison waiting behind their goaltender. Decides to come out on the near board and then cross ice on the entry. Rybicki harassing. Puck to the corner. Puck goes back up to the blue line. Centering pass. Deflected by Rybicki. Slap shot. Hits the crossbar and goes out of play. 7 seconds remaining on the kill. Kushkowski is going to go back out with Bergeron. Pulauskas looks like he's going to go right back out on the ice. Seven seconds left. Face off one over to Rybicki. Rybicki sends it up the boards. Kept in. Rybicki gets it to Kushkowski. Knocks off of Kushkowski over to Bergeron. Rybicki to Aldridge. Aldridge up for Pulauskas. It deflects to Kushkowski. Kushkowski carries forward. His shot goes high and wide over to Prisgintis. Prisgintis sends it back down. Pulauskas picks it up. Pulauskas takes a hit. Miller keeps it in, gets it over to Kushkowski. Kushkowski tries to get a shot on. Pulauskas takes a hit in the back. Prisgintis lifts the stick, takes the puck back. Kushkowski and Pulauskas back in. Drop pass to Prisgintis. Over to Kushkowski in front. Kushkowski tries to get a backhand shot. Gets knocked down. Madison clears it. And that'll go for an icing. Minute 29 to go. Kruger, Credidio, Reynolds on the ice. Face-off controlled by Madison. They try to get it up the glass and out. It gets past Miller. Icing is waved. Prisgintis sends it up for Reynolds. Madison gets to it first, but knocks away from Madison to Credidio. Credidio enters the zone. Goes to take a shot in the middle of the ice. Hits off of Madison's stick and then goes down low for Kruger. Kruger to the corner. Backhands one to the backboard. Puck goes up the boards to Miller. Kruger over to help, knocks it away. Madison does clear the zone. Credidio takes a hit. Puck over to Miller. Back to Campbell. Campbell to Credidio. Credidio enters. Reynolds changes. Brown comes on. Rubicki knocks a puck aside. Madison on the backboard. Centering pass. Misses, but the D gets another shot on it. Still in front. Puck is loose. Somewhere underneath Dabrowski now. Campbell takes a shot. Kruger gets knocked down. Everybody separates. 12.4 seconds to go. Kruger to take the face off. Madison wins it back. They come down behind Dabrowski, looking to pass up. Credidio blocks a shot. Kruger finds it. Enters with Credidio. Credidio in front. There's no clock on that side, so you can't really tell when the clock's expiring. Credidio takes a shot. Horn sounds. Madison takes exception. So Fury wins 4-1. And we do the handshake line.
Well, you called a good game.
Oh, thank you. I tried. All right, that'll do it for the weekend. We will have games next weekend. I think it's the Windy City Showcase. I'll try to post those game times on the YouTube page. All right, everybody, have a good weekend.